are a little worried about obviously running into a buffalo and potentially getting charged.
Make sure your running shoes on in case we need to get out of there quickly.
Welcome to Find Your Outdoors. I'm your host, Frank Willem, joined today by my co-host and daughter, Brittany.
In the first part of our Africa adventure, you may recall we went cage diving with great white sharks down in Cape Town, South Africa. It was an exhilarating adventure.
That's right, but the main purpose of our trip was to hunt on the Madaka Ranch. We arrived during July, which is their winter when the humidity is low, the nights are cool, and the days are pretty warm.
Madaka Ranch is located about 300 miles southeast of Johannesburg, roughly a 5-hour drive. It's 7,000 acres covering nearly 11 square miles, home to thousands of plains game and cool animals everywhere you looked.
Isak Kirsten, owner of the Madaka Ranch, named his safari business Wow Africa. When I asked him why he had chosen that name, he replied, because whenever people come to Madaka, their first word was always, wow.
Well, that's a pretty good reason to me. As their website proudly proclaims, Madaka was declared a South African Natural Heritage Site by Nelson Mandela.
That's right. Madaka is a true African gem, hidden amongst the rolling hills of the old Zulu kingdom, and nearly surrounded by the famous Impala Game Preserve. Isak Kirsten's family has been in South Africa since the 1600s.
Isak takes pride in his heritage and the land which he oversees. He lives at Madaka with his wife Linky and children. What a place to grow up.
The lodge features a roof made of grass, which while quite costly to build is really effective. And among the animals to be found at this lodge are a variety of warthogs and the fearsome beast, Bella.
Oh, brother. This Nyala was orphaned and nursed by Isak's family. She's now their pet and hangs around at the lodge, even sneaking inside at times or eating rubber window stripping off car windows, binoculars, backpacks, the list goes on. They think her taste for rubber results from being bottle-fed. Her calf Shadow stays close but doesn't share the same fearlessness of humans as her mother.
Isak is quite conservation-minded and took the time to explain a little bit about the benefits of hunting on his ranch.
I mean, obviously, if we don't control the numbers in here, they'll keep on breeding, and it will be one of two things. Some species will die out completely because there won't be any habitat left for them to eat. They'll be overgrazing, and which is a simple effect of what happened in Botswana. There's emotional decisions that was made about elephant and elephant hunting and elephant populations, and a lot of money was poured into the government of forcing them to, well, I'm saying forcing, but freely forcing them to stop hunting elephants in that area. It got to the point that there's about 200,000 elephants in Zimbabwe, in Botswana, and it's by at least double the amount that they can handle. The effect of that was they destroyed so much habitat that a lot of other species were diminishing. Your kurus, your waterbucks, a lot of the browsers, there was no more trees left. If you went, anybody that's been next to the Chobe River recently will see there's nothing left there. So the same effect will happen on this side. So, and it's not, I think the nostalgic of how Africa used to be, people want to believe that animals are just running around freely and everywhere, and we are going around killing animals, leaving them on the ground, taking a picture, and then we go. It's not the case. It's a business, and we love what we do, but it has to have a value for us to keep on doing this.
Once we had a little time to settle in, we headed to the shooting range to check the sighting on our scopes.
I'm just going to sort out
Bottom target looks like it's a bit loose.
It's very important when you load this gun that you feed it from the magazine.
Straight in line with
Can't-
the bullseye.
I think that's the biggest thing that the people that's non-hunters battle to understand, how anybody can hunt for fun, if you want to call it that way. They do not understand the emotional behind it, the camaraderie that's being created amongst people coming here and enjoying the nature, walking for hours to try and find a specific animal. You have to keep in mind that there's a lot of animals that we do not hunt. There's a lot of females, there's a lot of youngsters that we do not hunt. Their time is not right. Trophy hunting is about taking out the older animals. So we get to a point where, and I think, you know, it's a simple, maybe it's too simple for some people to try and explain that, but you walk into a Costco and you walk into Albertsons, and I probably shouldn't name or brands here, but you walk into a supermarket at the end of the day and you buy your meat off the shelf, but no one asks the question, where did that beef come from, or where did that sheep come from, or whatever. A lot of them is in feeding lots. They do not have the quality of life that our game have in a natural environment. They've been fed, they've been a lot of hormones and etc. And once they get to a certain age, without having any social life, if you want to call it that way, they're being slaughtered, and they land on your supermarket plate, and you have no problem, most people have no problem eating that. Yet us as hunters, we've got game that grows up, have a complete social life. They've got their groups, they've got their areas. The best ones is the ones that goes on and breeds with the game. And once he gets to a point where he cannot breed anymore, he's too old, that's when we hunt him and we get a value from him. So it's basically an old tough cow or a bull that we take out. And so it's very important for us to do it that way. And then that meat we eat the same way, and we treat it the same way, and we than any other butchery that you might have in the United States or in Europe.
On our first day, we hunted Blessbuck, but sometimes things just don't quite work out like you plan.
Cape buffalo are big and pretty much fearless. In the area where we were hunting for a Blessbuck, there had been problems with Cape buffalo charging hunters out of the brush. So we knew if we were going to hunt that area, we'd have to be really cautious. This morning we were headed after a Blessbuck. We saw a wounded one. There was something wrong with his back leg, and so we figured we should probably go ahead and take that one so that it's not suffering. And so we went up and we parked the car, but the problem was, in the time it took us to drive a road and come back and park, some Cape buffalo had just gone across our tracks.
We came across some buffalo tracks, and very, very fresh tracks that actually crossed our vehicle tracks. And there were the thickets in, so we thought, no, we're not gonna push the limits to going in after him. We're gonna see if we can do try another approach. See if we can get the Blessbuck that way. But yes, we'd rather play safe than sorry. Yeah, go other way around.
And so we were a little worried about obviously running into a buffalo and potentially getting charged. And so we decided, you know, there was a trade-off there. You either get a chance to sneak up downwind to this Blessbuck and go ahead and take him, or you go upwind, in which case the buffalo will smell you, but the Blessbuck will too. So we decided we would at least give it a try with coming upwind to hopefully keep from running into the buffalo, in hopes that we could still find that Blessbuck and go ahead and grab it. After some stalking and seeing lots of buffalo tracks, and we saw some tracks from the Blessbuck where you could tell he's a little uneasy because he's hurt. We tracked all through the thicket down to the river, and we couldn't find him yet, but we're going to come back this afternoon and see if he will have made his way back to where he was bedded down, and see what we can do then.
The Blessbuck is still in there. I didn't see or hear the buffalo, although there was tracks coming out, fresh tracks. They might have split up and come out. So we're going to go for the Blessbuck. Then we're going to sort of stay wind up. So as we enter the bush, if they smell us, they might run the other way out. But keep your eyes open. Make sure your running shoes are on in case we need to get out of there quickly. Let's do this.
Animals have got a chance to get away. They are not standing behind each other in a pen at a slaughterhouse, and they all are going to die today. The 100 that you put in there, this is different for us, but the one that pulls the trigger is the same one that eats it as well. Where you, yeah, if you're buying meat off a supermarket shelf, you do not have to worry about how did that end up in front of you. You're just gonna enjoy that ribeye tonight, and you don't have to ask questions of how did this cow get on my plate.
Alright, so we came out this afternoon. We saw one. He went into the bushes. He looked a bit young. We stood for a while. We had a look. So we think we might give him a miss. Walk around, see if we can't find another one that's maybe a little bit more mature. See if we can't take him.
We were teamed with Madaka guide Marius, who we found to be really excellent at spotting and tracking plains games. He spotted a Blessbuck entering a thicket in the distance.
And when we glassed it, we noticed that it was dragging one leg and appeared to be injured. Marius sized it as a nice one, and since it was injured, we decided it should be cold. We began to stalk it, but as we got near, the PH spotted fresh buffalo tracks.
Marius suggested we exercise good judgment and move to another area to hunt so that maybe later we could come back and take another crack at it.
We left the area and then continued to search a mile or so away for Blessbuck once again. We spotted a couple in the distance, but this area without cover, and they spooked as soon as we tried to approach.
So after being frustrated twice, we elected to shift gears and go for an Impala, since we had seen a nice one just a little earlier.
And so we decided to go back after some Impala that we had passed on the way to look for the Blessbuck. And Marius had said that there was a very nice male in there.
Found the first herd, but I could see it's not the male that we were looking after, or looking for. And because there's not too much cover, we had to stand still for a very long time. They don't see us. They did see us, but weren't spooked too much.
And so luckily they just slowly walked up and over the hill. So once they were out of sight, we knew that we could start slowly moving forward, because we had seen a couple more in front of us and we wanted to see if that male we were looking for was with them. And lo and behold, he was. There was 4 Impalas standing there, and he was standing there looking at us, trying to figure out if he could see us. So we lined up and we took the shot. It was right on the shoulder, and he ran a little ways, and then we found him. So Impala down this morning.
Yes, Brittany made a perfect shot. I ran maybe 40 yards, Impala down, picked him up, everything job well done.
I think a lot of one of the things that people forget sometimes is there's over 1 billion people in Africa and growing very, very fast. The population in South Africa in '88 was around about 24, 25 million in total, and today we're standing at close to 60 million. So just in South Africa alone, you can see the difference in population, and everybody wants food and everybody needs that. So if more areas can change over to game, there will be more protein, because what a lot of people do not understand is, if this was a cattle farm, I can only have X amount of cattle on this farm, but there's a lot of areas that is not suitable for cattle farming. Your mountains and your hilly ranges, etc. Changing it into a game farm, I can have your mountain reedbucks and your klipspringers and certain species that do go in these rocky areas and eat specific plants and specific roots that cows don't eat. So you can have a much more amount of game on a farm population-wide than you would have with sheep and cattle.
So after a frustrating morning hunting Blessbuck, Marius's call to go after Impala worked out quite well.
But the story has another happy ending. Late that afternoon, Britt took one more try at finding a Blessbuck, and this time had some luck.
Thanks for joining us for another great episode.
And join us next week on Finder Outdoors.